mediocre, and I basically just go to work and do the things I need to do, and that's how it is. And then you die, right? And you live a good life. And it's like, if you're not passionate and inspired by your life, and that's something that you want, then this is a way that you can very quickly turn that on in your life. Now, if you're just okay with mediocre, then that's fine too. There are many people and relationships that stay there, and that's okay. And I think it's really important for us as coaches to not make people who don't want to cross the bridge. You know, it's like, when you're ready, there's going to be something inside of you that's like, I need to do that. And you might not know how, and you might be scared, and that's okay. You can not know how and be scared and still begin the process of walking across the bridge, you know, reading a book about it, or, you know, reaching out to Kenny or reaching out to me, you know, or finding a way to start implementing some of the solutions that we've talked about today. You know, it's like you can actually take the action, even though you're scared and you don't know how it's going to look. If you have that kind of gnawing feeling like something's missing and I'm ready to do something about it.
I heard two things in that. One was, if you're okay, stay there. You don't have to change your morals and values if everything's working for you. If it's not, and you want to change it, but you're not ready, that's okay too. And I love what you said about coaching. I had to learn that. And I learned it through my second marriage. I remember my counselor, he was also a pastor, and I asked him to marry my second wife and I. And he thought about it. He said, let me think about it. And he came back a couple of days later and he said, you know, I think you both still have some pain to work through, but if it's what you want, I'll support you. Now, I won't get into all of it, but that marriage destroyed me so heavily. It's what taught me how all of this worked. And it also taught me the most valuable lesson as a coach. I don't fix anybody. They may have a life experience waiting for them. That will be the answer. Like that, had it not been for me choosing to marry this woman, I wouldn't have figured all of this out. I needed that pain and that life experience. And so when I have a client who's not ready to cross the bridge, that's wonderful. I'm not going to get in the way of the life experience that's waiting for them. That will be the key that they need.
So good.
Yeah. And the final piece I heard you say was, when they're ready to cross the bridge, it's usually about a level of pain and dissatisfaction, that something in their life isn't enough and it's time. And that may not be a big event like I went through. It could be other things, but it's time. Is that a good way of encapsulating everything you said about that?
Yeah, I like that. I feel like it can be, you kind of made a distinction just to clarify it, is like, it can be there's something missing. Like, I don't know, it's just a little dull. It can be like softer. It doesn't have to be like, I'm going insane, or it can be that, but there's almost like, you know, there's a spectrum of this, like it could be kind of soft and subtle, and you can listen to that before it gets to the place where you have to do something about it because it's so severe, you know, or you are in a place where it is pretty severe, you know, and there is a lot of fighting, and there's a lot of shame, and there's a lot of dissatisfaction, you know, and that's when it's like, that is time. The time is ripe and maybe overripe. So you can listen whenever you want. But along the way, it'll just keep getting louder, really, until we listen.
What do you think is the single greatest thing keeping, and beyond just the superficial word of shame, what do you think is the single greatest thing keeping people from the sexual life and sexual intimacy that they all want? It's something, you know, I know shame is there, but is there something deeper really at play?
You know, I think the deepest thing that we're dealing with here is our programming that we don't even know is programming. It's like we are the subconscious mind, I mean, a lot of these decisions that we made about ourselves and then fixated on happened before the age of 7. So here's a 7-year-old making decisions about life. How intelligent and holistic are those decisions a 7-year-old makes in a 40-year-old body? You know, and there's some of these programming pieces that are still running, you know, about, I mean, for example, one is, you know, a child, a baby, cannot have the freedom of true self-expression until it feels safe. So if somewhere in your childhood you felt unsafe, it limits your self-expression, because that until you actually fill in that safety and create that, then you won't be fully self-expressed. And I don't remember the psychologist that said that. I should remember that. But do you know that? You don't know.
Yeah, no, I
Who said
knowing
that?
enough about childhood development, I know it in different words.
Different terms. Okay, got it. Yeah. So it, you know, but there's
from the life we want, and we don't know the most profound thing you said is almost everybody, and I find this with everything I talk about, people are just unaware. We don't know what we don't know. And because we don't talk about sex, relationships, marriage, emotions, we never take a class on it other than how sex works, but not how to live in it. We just don't know. And so most people are completely unaware that the problems in their life are their own doing, and they're not bad. They just don't know. It's the lack of understanding that there's even a problem. That's the biggest thing. Yeah. I couldn't. Yeah.
I think that's the first place is it's like, okay, so first, do I know what my problem is? You know, and if you don't, then it's in that category of the subconscious mind, because the conscious mind doesn't necessarily see the subconscious mind unless you start doing work to open that up. And then secondly, the next piece I think that people are dealing with, they don't even know they're dealing with, is a resistance or a shadow sabotage aspect that they don't even realize is running. Again, it comes from the subconscious, but it's like, it's something that's literally taking them out all the time. Like I also had, a very, sexually indulgent early 20s, where it was just like, it was like, having sex to get love. And it was like, I was insatiably hungry and I could not be full. And that shadow piece was just running me. And it was not harnessed. Sexual energy is so powerful. And when harnessed, it's powerful. When not harnessed and repressed or indulged, it's like blows up your life. And that was running me. But I didn't know. I thought I was just having sex because it was fun. And I was like proving that I was free and, that I was no longer under the control of my puritanical family. There was all these reasons that I had, but I didn't realize what was actually running underneath it. And I think that's another thing that really takes people out.
I agree that those are two really profound things. One, we don't know what we don't know. And then people listening who are hearing things for the first time, our inherent reaction when we don't know something is to go, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to find out that I don't know these things. I don't want to discover that there might be imperfections in me. Oh God, no. I sat across from a woman the other night and we were just talking about what I do for work. And I have to be careful in any setting when I talk about what I do for work, because people walk away from me. They just go, I don't want to hear this, because there's such an aversion to looking at ourselves. And that's what happened in this conversation. We started talking and she asked me what I did and she kept going. And finally she's like, yeah, I don't want to know that about me. I just don't want to know it. And that's usually, to me, like you said, the lack of knowing and then that reaction. That's what robs people of their inherent greatness, their success, their peace, everything. We just don't want to know about ourselves. And that's the piece that breaks my heart. And that's why I try and talk about all of this stuff so aggressively and non-superficially, because I want to calm everybody's amygdala down so they can hear it. Because I know how the brain works. The reason we do that is if we don't know it, we pull back from it. So I want you to hear it enough that your brain goes, oh, what's the big deal? I can deal with this.
Right.
I love that you went into that. That's wonderful. Can you give everyone your contact information again and tell us any classes, what are you doing to help people in their sexual lives? Take a couple minutes here to let everybody know how they can reach you and how you can help them with their sex life.
Absolutely. So the best way to reach me is through my Facebook profile. I just end up doing a lot of engaging with people on that. And that is facebook.com/Miss, MISS, JAMIE, Elizabeth, ELIZABETH. My website is JamieElizabethThompson.com. And if you're curious about anything you heard today at all, then reach out to me and let me know, and we can set up a free 15-minute consultation where we'll just talk about what's going on for you and see if we are fit to actually move forward into the discovery call process and coaching. I have a wonderful boot camp that I'm collaborating with a male friend on that is specifically for men who want to step into their power again. So there was a giant women's movement. There was never a men's movement. A lot of men are having the experience of feeling a lot of shame for having sexual desire. They are turning to porn. They're turning to massage parlors. They're turning everywhere but anywhere that can help. And so we want to provide a space where men can really begin to step back into their power and their leadership with integrity. And so this boot camp is going to be in Colorado, August 3rd through 5th. Again, reach out to me if you have curiosity about that as well, and we can schedule a call. My email address as well is Jamie, Jamie, at JamieElizabethThompson.com. And yeah, so I mean, I basically just who I work with. I don't even know if I said that during this call, but I work with individuals and couples. So generally I do. I work with individuals and couples, both men and women. And generally it's couples or individuals who have they're up to something in life. I really enjoy working with people that are up to something and they want to really take on and empower themselves through their intimacy, their relationship, their sexuality, or their dating life, and have that not only be something that works wonderfully, but also that supports their life.
Do you have more time?
I have like another 10 minutes or so.
Okay, because I wanted to extend the show because you just said something, and I'm like, we didn't even talk about that, and I have time, so I was like, I think this is so important. We talked about this off the air, and so I want to touch on it and extend the show just for this. We talked about before the show how everything is so confused now. There was this big women's movement, and now there's tremendous confusion about a man's role and a woman's role. And I don't want to give my opinion yet. I want you to expand on that. Of how do you feel men have lost their way? How have women lost their way in this new, women's feminism and gaining their strength and all of that? Can you share your thoughts on that?
Yes, I will. So I think that a good way that I like to kind of enter into this conversation is let's look at masculine and feminine energy. We look at masculine and feminine energy and we realize, oh my gosh, those two things are opposite. Yeah. Masculine energy is the directed, the practical, the building, the structure that actually is the container for the feminine energy. Yeah. Feminine energy is this vast, expansive, unexplainable, illogical muse of creativity and joy and pleasure. And it's, it's like we watch art or we watch we look at a beautiful painting or we hear a beautiful song, and it's like that it ignites and shows us what feminine energy is. Now, that song could have never been made if masculine energy didn't exist. It would just be floating around in